Good evening, chaps. It's Friday. The sun is very definitely shining. The beer is cold and the beer is poured. Welcome to the weekend. Welcome to the live stream. Cheers. And for anyone who's interested, this evening's stream of verbal diarrhea will be brought to you courtesy of Holston Pills. Let's have a look and see who's in the chat. So who was first in this week? Michael Palmer. Congratulations, Michael. I really am first this time. Greetings, John and the gang from tropical Darlington. Yes, it has been a bit warm here today. I've just got this little kind of clock calendar thing on my desk here, and it's reading 27.6 degrees centigrade in this room today, which doesn't sound like a lot, but for those of us in this part of the world, that is positively, it might as well be the Bahamas. Who else have we got? Lawrence Hastings, Edwin Toonan, John Channing, Johnny Random, Phil James Hunt, Anton Zinn, Steve Muskie, Sam's Budget Guitars, James Hunt, did I say you already, mate? Ian Clark, Peter Collins, Jeff C., Robster Boy, Deco Dude, Grandpa Joe, and Reeled in 58, Cal B, Gordo Canuck, Russell Gibson, and scrolling. We've also got Ken McGurr, I hope that's pronounced right, and scrolling down a bit more, JP Morrison, The Time Prophet, Sean House, Dave Pegg, David Evans, Dr. Gomez, and Jeff. Evening, Jeff. William Forrester, I see you already. Dudley Squat, Neville Ray, Rob Bald, Patrick Becker, Nancy Davis, Fender Bender, and Far John. Where did that go to? The page moved just as I was scrolling there. Far John's in. Anyway, Colin Falcon and Peter Goddard. Sargy's in. Irish Stew. Jonathan Peden, Robert Forden, Yeti Goose Creature, James Turner, Grandpa Guitarist, Stratboy 999, and Guitar Man. Time Prophet saying the start of your sentence always gets cut off because you start speaking before the stream starts. No, as soon as it comes up on here that you are now live, I start talking. Who knows? It's IT doing what IT does. Basically, we've got all the usual crew in. Apologies if I missed your name out there, but as I often say, it would make for a rather tedious live stream just reading out the register. But you're welcome. Lovely to see so many of you in. 104 at current count, looking at my stats I've got on screen here. And thank you to each and every one of you for just turning up and watching, this fat, bald, rather pink-looking bloke talk nonsense for an hour, just getting a few beers under my skin before the kebab. I mention that because I know it's often a topic of conversation in the chat as to what this evening the Robson household will be dining on. We're off the curry at the moment, mainly because our local curry house, the last one we had from there wasn't that good. It's sadly, we'll give them another go, but they're not the only curry house in town, so we shall see. And I've got a freezer full of my own homemade stuff. But I do like a takeaway on a Friday, it has to be said. I like to have a few beers and then just have my evening meal delivered to me. So it will be a kebab this evening. Now then, roundabout, I have actually got a couple of things I've planned tonight. It's all the beer, no idea, but I do have a couple of things I want to talk about. Starting off as usual with, I see my mate Jem Jarvis is in. How are you, Jem? Starting off as usual with looking at what we're going to be doing on the channel in the coming few days. I don't often do a Saturday video. I tend to keep those for special occasions, and tomorrow is such an occasion. There is a Saturday video. I think it's going out 10 a.m. UK time, basically where I'm going shopping for an amp. And, excuse me, I'm not going shopping for an amp tomorrow. I already have been, but, you know, the video is going up tomorrow. So that is tomorrow's video, going shopping for an amplifier. Then on Sunday, we are, or I will be rather, or I have done and will be kind of posting it on Sunday, doing a bit of a more in-depth look at Guitar Rig 6, what you saw me kind of having a first impressions of yesterday. Basically, I've recorded a full tune with it, and well, as I say in that video, as you'll see on Sunday, over to you, chaps. What do you think of the tones I'm getting from Guitar Rig 6, as opposed to the ones you've heard me get from 5 and the bias amp stuff? I got to tell you, I am more impressed than I thought I was going to be with Guitar Rig 6. I'm not sure whether it is going to usurp bias amp yet. Although there may be something coming along that might just do that. Then on Monday, it's a solo analysis, as is always the case these days. That seems to be the rhythm I've settled into. Monday's solo analysis is going right the way back to my earliest kind of forays into the world of playing lead guitar. It was the solo which, to a large extent, taught me the very first pentatonic shape that we all kind of usually learn. I've mentioned it often enough in videos and talked about what a big influence it had on me. So I thought I might as well do a solo analysis of it. So if anybody can, think what song, what solo do I often reference as being, and this is the one that showed me how to play this pentatonic shape. Well, it's that solo. Then on Tuesday, it's a top 5 list, as is often the case. And have you ever come across this sort of thing where, there's an album that you really like by a particular band, but that's the only album of theirs that you like? I've got quite a few of those, so it's basically Tuesday is going to be 5 bands where you only really need one album. It's a fantastic album. It's a great album. You'll love it to, in 10-foot tall letters, but you only really need that one album. That's going to be the topic of Tuesday's video. Wednesday, we're back to the 80s a little bit for the sort of lick of the week, or learn my licks video on Wednesday, because I'm going to be doing a little bit of tapping. The reason I'm doing that is I've done 2 or 3 videos on like sort of tapping technique and stuff, and when I've watched them back, I've never really been kind of happy with the explanation I've given of the technique and stuff. So I just wanted to get it out off me chest and out my system, to how you do that whole kind of Van Halen style tapping. So that's what we're talking about on Wednesday. Then on Thursday, well, as I said, on Saturday, tomorrow, I'm shopping for an amplifier, and on Thursday you will see the unboxing and first impressions video of said amplifier. So that takes us to Thursday, and we know what happens after Thursday. We come to Friday, and we know what happens on Friday. Cheers. I don't know if you were the first one there to get the correct answer, Nancy, but that's hit me right between the eyes. Nancy Davis talking about the solo. It is, of course, Shaking All Over. The solo which taught me the pentatonic shape. And I think we're talking about albums bands where you only need one album, and Tracy Chapman by Tracy Chapman, definitely. That album was absolutely huge, wasn't it? And I seem to remember that what massively propelled Tracy's career was the Nelson Mandela 70th birthday concert, in 1988. Because if I remember correctly, and it is an awful long time ago, but it was at Wembley Stadium, and Stevie Wonder was supposed to do a set, and but this was the 80s, and all of Stevie's presets for his keyboard were stored on a floppy disk, and the floppy disk went missing. And so he couldn't basically there was no sound coming out of his keyboard. So out wheels Tracy with her acoustic guitar, and she does Fast Car and whatever other hits she had, and suddenly that global audience that she got then was what really kind of propelled her into the big league. Oh, I see we've got Pablo Hank in. How are you, mate? A video on Mark Rebo's style, played on most Tom Waits stuff, would be good. Do you know what? I didn't know that was his name, but that is a fantastic idea, mate. I mean, Heart Attack and Vine, if he played on that album, there's some really good bluesy guitar work on that. I seem to remember the track In Shades was just really, real good kind of sleazy blues jam. And Dave Lewis is saying nothing wrong with the plugins you've been using for ages. No, I didn't get Guitar Rig 6 because I thought there was anything wrong with the plugins I was using. I got it because it was a new thing. It was a shiny thing. It was, it was like, the grass is always greener over the other side, isn't it? And it was on offer. So, I thought, well, yeah, I'll grab it. And I did, and I got to tell you, I am finding it a little bit more realistic than Guitar Rig 5, which was good, but 6 is just that it has that more kind of ampy, authentic feel to it. What about some Wilco Johnson licks? Top 5, says Irish Stew. Yeah, there's an idea. I've only done one Wilco Johnson solo, and I do need to redress that balance. There's a bunch of guitarists that, I think I must do a solo by this person. I mean, Bill Nelson, there's one. Excuse me, I got terrible wind. I did a solo, can't remember which one it was. I think it was Life in the Air Age I did from Sunburst Finish. I did one of his solos, and it's like, well, yeah, I should go and revisit that play at some point. But yeah, definitely some Wilco Johnson need to go and do. The thing with Wilco is he's got such a unique style, hasn't he? I mean, other guitar players like Knopfler, again, a unique style, but usually, with one exception that the Patreon supporters will know about because it was last month's Patreon solo. Usually when I do a Knopfler solo, I don't bother going down the whole kind of playing, with me fingers kind of thing. I just pick up a pick and do it that way. Although I am getting more comfortable, as I said, when was it, last week sometime, about, playing without a pick. But Wilco, you've got to basically play like him to sound like him, So, yes, I shall have to go back and have a look at some of his stuff. Maybe some of his stuff with the Fielders. My first attempt at doing a Wilco Johnson solo was the solo from Down at the Doctors. I honestly didn't know that wasn't Wilco playing on that track. I didn't know it was Jippy Mayo in the band at that time. For some reason in my head, I had it that it was Wilco, but obviously not. It's still a great solo, I saw a video last week or two that said Wilco used red pick guards to hide the blood. I've heard that as well, because he does kind of he does kind of belt the guitar around a little bit, doesn't he? Let's see what else I've been missing in the chat. How about some CCR? I have done some, actually. I did. Was it? I can't remember. Was it Proud Mary or was it? Oh, God, the other one. Bad Moon Rising. I remember I did both of those solos for one of my students, and I ended up doing One of them, and I can't remember which one it is because they all kind of get lost in a blur of videos that I've done. I forget what I've done, but I think I did Bad Moon Rising, the solo from that. But yeah, should really revisit John Fogerty. Excuse me, this mouse it's one of those wireless mouses, and I think the battery's on its way out. David Evans is saying Amplitude 5 Max is fantastic. I will have to agree to disagree with you there, mate. I downloaded the trial version and found it absolutely, not to my liking, shall we say. Then the chaps from Amplitude got in touch with me and said, sorry, you didn't like our product. Would you like the full version to check it out? So I said, well, yeah, okay then. And they sent me a non-working version, what they did was they sent me a download link to download a full version of the paid for one, basically. The link didn't work. And then they sent me another link, and I downloaded it, and it didn't work on my PC. And they were saying, well, your PC isn't up to the correct spec. Well, according to your system requirements stated, it is. So, Amplitude and me just aren't made for each other, I think we have to say. But, each to their own. Love to get a Toto 4 solo like track 7. What is track 7 on Toto 4? I've got the album, but I can't remember the running order. I did once back in the dim and distant past of long before YouTube was even a thing. When I used to have a website called guitarjohnny.com. I used to post solos on there occasionally, and I did the first solo from Rosanna. And I've thought about doing it again for the channel, but the problem is, if you do the first solo, it begs the question, well, are you going to do the second solo? And let's just say I know my limitations. So Lovers in the Night is track 7. Okay, we can have a look at that. Where are we? Wilson Jones is saying, I put a Franken telly together this week. Lovely jubbly. Yeah, I've got a hankering to do another parts caster. I must admit, it's been a while since I've done a guitar build, but I'm going to hang fire on that because if I just pick you up and show you round the room, over there you can see there's a big old cupboard there that's just full of junk and stuff. And when I get rid of that, then there will be a workbench going in there, and that is going to allow me to do more kind of videos about, just working on guitars. I mean, I'm no Ben Crow or Dave's World of Fun stuff, but I have picked up a few little things along the way, just basic guitar maintenance. And I would like to start doing a few sort of videos about that. Evening, Craig. How are you, mate? Yes. Now, a couple of things I want to talk about before I forget. I've even made notes to talk about these things. It was mooted, I think, last week, or was it the week before, that we had a bit of a get-together last year up in Redcar, and I said if people are interested, we could probably do it again this year, probably towards the end of the year, October-ish, I was kind of thinking. And I said, if anybody's interested, drop me an email, let me know, and we can set it up. Book the table at the restaurant, that sort of thing. If people are interested, let me know, and we'll organise something. If not, we won't. I appreciate it is quite a long way to travel, and there's accommodation and everything. And let's not forget, we have the industrial unrest in the railways that is on the horizon. So it might be a bit too much of an ask to ask people to come and travel to this part of the world just for a night out on the beer and a curry. But if you're interested, drop me an email. If you put it in the chat, I'm likely to miss it because I'm kind of sat here blethering and talking. If I spent the entire live stream just reading the chat and doing nothing but reading the chat, it would make for a rather tedious hour on a Friday evening to, in terms of watching it. So if you're interested in coming for a few beers and a curry up in this neck of the woods at some point in October or thereabouts, then jrguitartuition@gmail.com or johnrobsonmusic.co.uk. Go to the email form on that site and let me know. And if we get like a dozen or so people who are, interested in having that night out arranging, we'll arrange it. And it was great fun last time. It was magic fun last time, and a great evening was had by all. So it would be fun to do it again. But I understand, as I say, it is, there's expense involved in travel and accommodation for people. So either way, I'm happy. So why not a Zoom party? Yeah, we could do that, couldn't we? We could do that. Leave that one with me. So, yeah, JP Morrison saying nothing as boring as a fret leveling video. That you could say that about anything, really, though, couldn't you? About any kind of instructional video. If you are in the market for that information and you desperately need to know how to do this, that, or the other, whether it's playing the guitar or kind of fettling a guitar up to to maintain it or something. If that's the information that really solves a problem for you, then it's fascinating. But if not, then it's like watching paint dry, isn't it? Anyway, excuse me. I need another beer. Now, the other thing, everybody get ready to type FLAKE, because I know you want to. Oh, Dave Pegg's got a new guitar day, PRS standard. So your, let's just kind of scroll it back up because saw your vid on the 08 version. Totally agree on the mini switches. Standard got push pull much better. Yeah, those mini switches they're just in the wrong place. They're not as bad on the SE Paul's guitar, which is a guitar that a certain gentleman in the chat is lucky enough to own, because the Paul's guitar is like a stop till, a wrap over bridge, so you haven't got the trem in the way. But on that 08 guitar, it was just like it was like they'd been designed to be inaccessible, and it just, for a company that, what they are known for is well-designed guitars, that just seemed like a bit of an own goal. I see we got Dan in. Scott Guitars. I think that calls for the usual. Every Friday we do this. The gratuitous Blondie shot. Doesn't she look gorgeous? Dan, this, every day I pick it up and play it. I have some really nice guitars in here. I've got the Les Paul and I've got the Telecaster and I've got loads of lovely guitars. But this is head and shoulders above them all. It is an absolute work of art. Dan, you are a genius. And, well, thank you once again for just ensuring that I got this guitar. It is just, all the best to you, mate. I hope you're getting a nice full order book. And the other thing I was wanting to talk about is the Blues Masterclass. January was the last time I ran the Blues Masterclass, and I've done it twice, and the attendance at the first one was absolutely blew me away. And it was a little bit, it was great the second time. It was well attended, but not as well attended as the first time. So I had a great amount of fun putting that whole project together. And I was thinking about doing it again, but a different topic. what I was thinking of, what's been on my mind is if I was to do a similar thing, which if you didn't, you know, if you weren't aware of the blues masterclass, it was basically a Zoom masterclass that lasted about 4 to 5 hours, and we basically went through all the aspects of blues, and there was like all kind of the solos tabbed out, and there's like, you know, kind of jam tracks and all manner of stuff. I was thinking about doing a similar thing for melodic rock soloing. If people are up for that, I'm well up for putting that together. What I'm thinking of is, you know, just basically going for, as I say, a melodic rock soloing masterclass. I'm thinking about basing it around the styles of people like Peter Frampton, Mark Knopfler, Gary Moore, David Gilmour, Carlos Santana, all of those guys basically who, you know, okay, they may do the odd twiddly bit every now and again, Gary Moore especially, but that's, you know, that's sort of incidental to what they play. It's more about the players who just sound good and melodic, and they come up with solos that you can that stick in your head, and you're humming them. And excuse me, terrible. This Holston's giving me terrible wind. So a melodic rock soloing masterclass. If you're up for it, let me know, and I will put that together. So Anton's saying another masterclass, yes, please. And yes, I bet that maple top will darken and yellow really nicely. It already is, Phil. It's because I've seen other examples that Dan has built, and it's, you know, mine is kind of mellowing compared to how the newer ones look. Snowy White, again, another guy that I could have included in that list. So we're seeing melodic solos gets my vote. Count me in. Another masterclass sounds good. Yeah, a lot of positive responses there. And masterclass in the middle of the night for us in the colonies. That is an unfortunate. You know, I can command many things, but time zones are not amongst them. I will try to make it so that it's like not a completely ungodly hour for people who aren't in this particular time zone. Leave that one with me. I've had enough positive responses there that I can start throwing some ideas together, start writing backing tracks, and getting stuff tabbed out and stuff. Yeah, okay, it's official. The melodic rock soloing masterclass will go ahead. Details to follow in the next few weeks. So leave that one with me. I'm excited about doing it. How much does it cost? Right, says John Mack. Okay, well, the blues masterclass was £75 for non-Patreon supporters, or £50 for Patreon supporters, for like a 4 to 5 hour intensive course, and all the materials, all the tabs, all the jam tracks and everything. So I'm thinking about the same sort of amount again, you know, and that roughly sort of, if we say sort of 4 hours, my hourly rate for lessons is £19 an hour. So 4 to 5 hours, it works out roughly in that sort of ballpark for, you know, what you would pay me for, you know, that many hour guitar lessons, which is, you know, without wishing to blow my own trumpet too loud, that's significantly cheaper than what you would pay some other guitar tutors. John Sykes won't be on the list then. He could well be, Johnny. He could well be. You know, when I reeled off those names there, it was just, okay, here are examples of the kind of players I'm talking about. I just want to be clear, it won't be here's how to play like this player, or here's how to play like that player. This will be, let's have a look at the kind of techniques that this list of players, including John Sykes and all the people I mentioned, these are the kind of things that they do that give them that melodic kind of memorable style of playing. Excuse me. Mark Purvis is saying, hello, John. How are you doing? I'm doing exceptionally well, Mark. It's Friday. I've got beer. There's a kebab on the way, and I have the remote control for the TV tonight. What's not to like? Let's see what else I've missed. I have never seen you play any neoclassical lead. Yeah, it's there's good reason for that, mate. I don't think I ever really have. I did do, actually. If you go on Spotify and check out I think it's the Handles for Folks album. I think there's a track on there called All the King's Men, where I do get a little bit into that sort of style, but I wasn't really kind of going for that. I was trying to essentially do something a bit Michael Schenker-y on that, and it kind of came. Well, I suppose he's got a little bit of a touch of that about him, hasn't he? But that whole kind of Yngwie style of playing, I've got to tell you, it never really kind of flipped my coin. I've got to tell you, and if something isn't really kind of giving you the fizz, if it's not really kind of giving you that that hairs on the back of your neck standing up kind of sensation, then you don't invest a lot of time in playing it. It's you could equally go on to All England's channel and say, never really heard you play any Chicago blues, mate. It's everybody has their own likes and dislikes, and that is reflected in their style of playing. And the kind of stuff. I mean, I've carved out a little niche for myself where, I kind of know my audience, and they like blues, and they like rock, and they like classic rock, and it tends all to be, when I look at my YouTube stats, it all tends to be gentlemen of a certain vintage that grew up listening to the same bands. And I've noticed when I stray too far away from those kind of artists and that sort of material, then my viewing figures tend to just go off a cliff a little bit. Edwin Toonan saying, does the masterclass include a t-shirt? Do you know, that's a brilliant idea, mate. That might just be something we could look into. I'll have to look at costings and stuff, but there may be a t-shirt. There may be, yes, a t-shirt or some other piece of memorabilia, to go along with it. That would be a cool idea. Is a knack for melody from the heart, or can it be learned? It most definitely can be learned, mate. It is. Excuse me. Let's get rid of that. It most definitely can be learned. The people who have a knack for it have learned how to do it. And maybe they've sat down and studied and, done it the book learning way, or maybe they've just learned it intuitively by learning other people's music and material and solos, and, just kind of picked it up and developed a feel for it that maybe they don't realize that they've learned a set of parameters and rules. But yes, it can most definitely be learned. A jazz masterclass, yes. That reminds me of the old joke that, a jazz guitarist plays 1,000 chords to 3 people, and a rock guitarist plays 3 chords to 1,000 people. I would love to do some kind of jazz thing like that, but again, there are channels on YouTube that thrive on that sort of content. But I know whenever I do any stray into that kind of territory, it tends to just, always be a little bit underwhelming in terms of the response. And I'm just responding to, market forces. Like, for instance, the lick videos. When I did my the first in these series of videos about how I pretend to play fast, when I was doing the kind of twiddly widdly legato sort of stuff, that got a good number of views. last week, even though I didn't put jazz in the title, the spicy blues lick, it was about half the number of views in the first 24 hours. So I would love to do some jazz stuff, but it just doesn't get the, it just doesn't get the required audience. So, it is what it is, and there's no point getting wound up about it. I just respond to what you good people, my audience, seem to want. Dave Lewis is saying your Flake t-shirt is still available from Scotland if you get enough orders, mate. I shall bear that in mind, mate. Yes, who was that with a Fast Club reference? David Evans. Let's see. James Turner is saying the Spicy Blues Lick vid was awesome. Yeah, well, this is what I tend to notice when I do anything like that. The response I will get will either be, a dedicated group of people who are into that particular type of material who love what I do, but it still doesn't get the views. And ultimately, there is a bottom line here. I have to invest time in making these videos, and if a video sort of underperforms, even though the people who do watch it think it's fantastic, it still hasn't really paid me, minimum wage, if you want to think of it in those terms, for the hours that I put into making the video. So, I do have to kind of factor that in. Let's have a look. Have to juxtapose death, speed, metal, and jazz, says Calby. Yeah, there was an album that did that back in the 90s. If anybody knows of a guitar player called Sean Baxter, who used to be I think he was involved in the rock school exams. I think, is he something to do with the Academy of Contemporary Music, that place in Guildford? Now, he's basically a really kind of really talented guitarist, and his two favorite guitarists were someone like, I think, Dimebag Darrell and Alan Holdsworth, and he did an album called Jazz Metal where he kind of fused the two styles. I got to tell you, I bought the album at the time, and it was one of those albums where I was absolutely overwhelmed by the virtuosity on display, but it didn't get me here, and ultimately that's where music has to get you. Don't call it jazz, call it next level blues. So Sean Baxter wrote for Guitarist magazine too. Indeed, he did, mate. Yes. Don't call it jazz, just call it Master Josh Smith kind of solos. Again, there's a player. I was listening to his Live at the Spud album this morning. What a player. Just fantastic. Anton saying jazz, nice, but essentially quite boring. Just saying, well, fair enough, mate. It's going back to what I was saying about that Sean Baxter album. There are certain styles of music that we all know that other people rave about, and you can listen to it and you can think that is astonishingly clever, but it just doesn't give me the goosebumps, and you can't rationalize it any more logically than that. It either moves you or it doesn't. John, play some Steely Dan on your Larry Carlton. Yeah. What was the last Steely Dan solo I did? I think it was Ricky Don't Lose That Number, wasn't it? I think I did that before I had the Larry Carlton. So Time Prophet saying, I call it jazz when I play a wrong note. Well, was it Louis Armstrong who said there's no such thing as a wrong note, just a badly resolved one. David Evans is saying, Have you ever come across any Chris Poland, ex-Megadeth guitarist solo stuff? He's a great player. New name to me, mate. I've not heard that name before. But Megadeth, all that sort of stuff. That was, I mean, for people in the UK will remember, who are old enough to remember the 80s, which I suspect most of the people watching this video are. The Friday rock show on Radio 1, Tommy Vance, in an era when, you just didn't really hear rock music on the radio. You had, in the UK, you had your kind of top 40 stations, either local radio or, BBC Radio 1, or you had your kind of post-war nostalgia, Frank Sinatra, and the Andrews Sisters and all that. That was Radio 2. And then you had classical music, Radio 3. You just didn't hear rock music on the radio. So if you were a rock fan in the 80s, 10 till midnight every Friday, Tommy Vance's Friday rock show. And it was just required listening. And then at some point in the mid-80s, he started playing this, or early to mid-80s, he started playing this new brand of metal that was coming over from the States, thrash metal. And I got to tell you, again, admired the virtuosity, but could not get my head around it. Just didn't really kind of, it just didn't do anything for me. And then, Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, all of this sort of stuff. It was just all a bit of a closed book to me. So when a style of music doesn't float your boat in that way, you just don't really pay a lot of attention to the musicians involved, and that is probably why I've never heard of Chris Poland. So there you go. What else? Friday rock show theme too. Yes, 1,000,000 brownie points and absolutely no cash prize for anyone who can tell me the name of the Friday rock show theme and who it was by. Craig saying, I've been learning a lot of Alan Holdsworth style licks at the moment, but I can't get enough. I can't get enough, but I do understand why it's not everyone's cup of tea. Oh, excuse me, this beer is making me very gassy. Again, Alan Holdsworth, to at the risk of sounding like a broken record, incredible player. Just completely beyond anyone else's league. I think you could probably say he was name another player who sounds like Alan Holdsworth. You can't really, but the music is just it just doesn't touch me, I'm afraid. Take It Off the Top by the Dixie Dregs, indeed. Peter Goddard saying Nantucket Sleigh Ride. No, that was the theme tune for Weekend World, mate. Danny Hancock saying, how many flakes have I missed? Just got in from work. I'm only on my second, mate, and we're 42 minutes in. I've got some catching up to do. Excuse me. Where are we? Kevin Hartley saying discovered Russian Van Halen listen to Friday Rock Show. Gassy, good job it's not smell-o-vision. Yes, fortunately it's the other end, mate, but we'll draw a veil over that conversation. An album that I really really love, and I haven't listened to it in ages. Pretty much a guitarist I'd never heard of. I sort of knew of him, but discovered this guy properly via the Friday Rock Show was Pat Travers, the Making Magic album. That version of Statesboro Blues that he did on there. Oh man, that's just incredible, is it not? If you're not familiar with it, go and check it out. The Pat Travers album, Making Magic. What's that, Steve? Great YouTube vid from TFRS Radio 1, the Friday Rock Show. with Tommy Vance, Tony Iommi, excuse me, and Cozy Powell, Headless Cross, 1989. God, was that album that long ago? What else have I missed? Graham Campbell, just poured my first rum and coke of the evening on a diet. Yes, rum does nasty things to me. So I think I'll just stick on the Holston. Let's have a look. Scrolling down. I think Nico McBrain used to drum for Pat Travers. I didn't know that, mate. I honestly didn't know that. You live and learn. Rob Ball's going flake. What else have we missed? Stone Temple Pilots, Dean DeLeo adds Holdsworth licks into their set. Fair enough, mate. That's good to know. What I mean by Holdsworth is, being unique. I mean, I suppose the guitarist that I did one of his solos a little while ago, Frank Donnery, from It Bites, he had quite a strong Holdsworth, kind of influence in the way he played, like his legato stuff and what have you. But there was nobody like Alan Holdsworth, was there? There just wasn't. Before he came along, you couldn't say, well, you know what I mean? In the way that you can listen to Gary Moore. I don't know, I'm a big Gary Moore fan, but you can listen to Gary Moore and you can think, well, okay, yeah, he's taking what Clapton did and just kind of, cranking it up to twice the speed and twice the volume. You can hear the heritage in his playing, but you don't really get that when you're listening to Alan Holdsworth. There was nobody previous to him, certainly as a rock or fusion guitarist, that makes you think, well, yeah, okay, so he's part of that tradition. He was just like, boom, okay, this is a new way of approaching the guitar. And I really wish that it was something that, kind of moved me emotionally, but it just doesn't. And you can't, as I say, you can't rationalize it any more logically than that. Have you ever done any Roy Clark or Jerry Reed? No, I haven't. I haven't done many sort of country guitarists, really, have I? I shall have to remedy that. I've done the odd video on like sort of country licks and stuff like that, but I've never really kind of looked at. I suppose I did a solo from a Mary Chapin Carpenter song ages ago, but that was more like kind of a new country sort of melodic rock solo on a country song, but haven't really kind of done any of the sort of chicken picking sort of stuff. I must remedy that. So what I love about these live streams, people kind of saying, have you ever done this or have you ever done that? And I think, no, I haven't actually. And because when I first started doing these solo analysis videos for YouTube, it was just like, okay, let's go through my music collection and do some solos, some of my favourite solos. I'll do a Clapton one, I'll do a Gilmour one, I'll do a Knopfler one, I'll do a Gary Moore one. But it was, it would rapidly become quite boring if I was just kind of, every month or so, okay, it's 4 or 5 weeks since he's done a Clapton solo, and there's another Clapton solo. I have got a Clapton solo in the pipeline, by the way, one from the Beano album, because, well, I had to, didn't I? It's I'm loving that guitar, by the way. That issue with the that little kind of ridge as the where the fretboard and the neck didn't quite line up. I don't know if this is just from wear or because I haven't had the guitar that long, can't be wear, but it is sort of I don't know whether I'm just noticing it less or whether it's just kind of just going away for some reason. I don't know, but it is. I mean, I was having a conversation with a chap we all watch from time to time, Colin from the Guitaristas. I was going to get him on the channel. We're going to have a chat, but it's basically for one or two reasons that's not didn't look like it was going to happen. But we're having a bit of a chat on Zoom, and he'd seen the video where I was unboxing and doing a first impressions video on the Les Paul tribute, and he said to me, what do you think of it then? And I said, it's all the Les Paul I'm ever going to need, and it really is. Oh, hello, I see we've got the idiots in the stream again. Everybody, don't interact with the idiots. I have it on good authority that the more you kind of interact with them, it basically it tends to encourage them. Short version is don't feed the troll. Just ignore them. They're not, they're not poking you in the eye with a sharp stick. Just ignore them. Nothing you can do. The more you try and block them, the more they just, it's like kind of cutting the head off the Hydra. What are you saying there? Yes, Craig, let's put that up there. I only discovered this player relatively recently. Sean Lane was another next level player, as well as a certain Mr. Govan. That is a video that I'm going to be doing, actually, for the top 5 slot. The kind of the virtuoso guitarists who are head and shoulders above, the rest of us mere mortals. And Sean Lane will be definitely on that list. If you don't know him, if you're not aware of his playing, like I wasn't until about, maybe about 5 years ago when I first heard the name and thought, I need to go and check that out. Then go and check him out. It's quite a tragic story, really, plagued by ill health and sadly no longer with us. But what an amazing player, just kind of obviously the way his mind and musical, kind of awareness worked was just utterly in a different league, as I say, to the rest of us mere mortals, and just incredible. Let's have a look. What else I missed? What we're talking about here? Guitarist is a great channel too. Vids are a little long for me, but he does great in-depth reviews. Yes, he's given me a little bit of gas, not this kind of gas, the guitar acquisition syndrome gas on more than one occasion, because it was watching his video on the Les Paul tribute that made me think, maybe I should, So his new one, actually, he's doing, I don't know if you've seen it yet, it's the I was watching it before when I was just setting up for the live stream. He's doing the an Epiphone Les Paul custom in Alpine White. Dear me, what a good looking guitar that is. Good one, Jeff. Let's put you up on screen there. The bots clearly have no clue what the target audience is here. Free cheap guitars and amp porn. Now you're talking. Indeed. Yes, indeed. Please do a video of your students, friends and viewers' guitar collections. I sort of have done a little bit, I suppose, because we had Malcolm Spillett on the channel last year, didn't we? Was it last year? It was a while ago anyway, and he showed us through his guitar collection. And there is my pal David, who's got like a ridiculous amount of guitars that he keeps loaning me. Every time he loans me a guitar, I do the video with it, and he comes to pick it up, and he says, I brought this along. Do you want to borrow this as well? And it's usually something that I can't say no to. The latest one, I think I showed you this last week, is this lovely thing, a Player Series HH Telly. This is a lovely, properly nice guitar. So much so that I made him an offer on it, but he's not biting. Yeah, so I am kind of working my way through, kind of friends and viewers' guitar collections, it would be. I tell you what, if any of you on the chat tonight have a nice little kind of quiver full of arrows, so to speak, a nice collection of guitars, and you've got stories about them, and you want and you're up for a chat about your guitars, then get in touch. Drop me an email. You know the email address. It's in the links to all of these videos in the description of all of these videos, or the website is where you can contact me through that. Get in touch, and we'll put something together. Be cool. Edwin Toonan saying, I don't watch Guitaristers anymore. I always end up buying another guitar. That silver telly is seriously nice. It really is. I've got to tell you, since the I'm a bit of a spoiler alert here. I did the Player Series Strat last year, and that was a perfectly good Strat. It was just that I wasn't into Strats at the time. I couldn't find any fault with it, but it was a nice Strat. It was everything you could want out of a Strat. I just wasn't into Strats. That didn't really count. My love of Strats, or my interest in Strats, shall we say, didn't really reawaken until I got the Larry Carlton S7. But the point I'm making is that the Player Series Strat didn't really kind of grab me, but that Player Series telly really did. Pablo Hanksing, have you ever played a headless guitar? I haven't, mate. No, actually, yes, I have. I tell a lie. Back in the 80s, when a headless guitar basically meant a Steinberger. Do you remember Horner had like an officially licensed copy of the Steinberger, the cricket bat one? I was living in the English Lake District at the time, and there was a shop in Kendal, which was the nearest big town to where I was living, called Northern Sounds. It's probably long gone by now, but they had one of those Horner Steinberger copies in there, and I did get my hands on that and played it. But we're talking like sort of 1987 or thereabouts. I can't honestly remember what I thought about it at the time, because it was a long time ago. But that is the last time I think I played a headless guitar. The Horner Steinberger Spirit, that's the one, Anton. Still available, dear me. Oh, Malcolm, nice to have you in, mate, and sorry to hear that your missus is in hospital. Please give her all our best and our best wishes, and wishes for a speedy recovery, mate. Nice. It is genuinely touching, mate, that when you've got your missus, your other half, in hospital, and you find time to drop in on the live stream. It is, that means a lot, mate. Thank you. And as I say, best wishes from all of us to your missus. Speedy recovery. What else have I missed? I used to go into a shop and annoy the staff trying to play one of those cricket bats, says Johnny Random. Nancy Davis says night. And where are we? Colin is excellent guitarist. Just gets his hands on some great guitars to pull to bits. Indeed, he's there are some long form videos that really feel like you're wading through mud. I'm not going to name any names, but there are some YouTubers that do videos that last thick end of an hour, and you think, will you just get on with it? But Collins aren't. You just, I find that it's like, the video's ended. I thought, that went quick. And Collins here saying, let's put you up on screen, Colin. Do you remember reviewing my Red Contemporary Squire HH telly? You compared it to that LPB telly and give it a good account of itself, bar for the pickups. It now has Vansons. Nice one, Colin. Yes, I do remember that telly. It was a lovely guitar. That was around about the same time that you loaned me the Vox amp plugs, wasn't it, mate? Anyway, chaps, we've been on nearly an hour, and there is a kebab turning up very, very soon, and I have to be available to answer the door downstairs because the wife's in her pajamas, and I'll get all kinds of grief if she has to answer the door in her pajamas. So I'm gonna call it time there. Thank you once again, one and all, for turning up and watching a fat bald northern lad talk cobblers for an hour. Can't even say that. It's been a blast, as it always is, and I'll keep on doing it until you're sick of me. But for now, time, gentlemen, please. See you next week.